One of the most discreet trades happens every single day, hidden in plain sight. It's quick, quiet, and relies on small hands making movements under the table. For years, it's been busted by authorities, and yet constantly keeps reviving. And yes, I was once a part of this operation. I want you to think for a second about what kind of geniuses could be behind this. The answer? Obviously, 9-year-olds. Hi, my name is Madison Lowe, and I am a junior at Valencia High School. Back in 2019, I started my very own small business, and I've still been continuing it to this day. I actually started it when I was just 10 years old, and I've grown to really enjoy it. When you imagine a kid with a small business, then you probably imagine just a lemonade stand. But let's be real here. The one behind that is actually just your parents. What I'm really talking about is the literal economy of an elementary school classroom. You see, just like us, kids have their very own microtrends, except instead of just Stanley Cups or Fitbits, they actually include something a bit more personal. Something like some more homemade objects that even you can make at home. A really great example of this is, as you see on screen, my EcoBot 3000. I actually made this when I was just 8 years old, and I would bring it to school. And it wasn't very eco, but what it was just a plastic cup wrapped in tinfoil. When I did this, naturally kids got curious, so I decided I would charge $5 for them. I sold about 15 of them, which was to half of the class, and soon almost everybody had their very own EcoBot. Of course, not all good things can last, and this EcoBot operation was busted when a teacher had to come tell me personally that it was just inappropriate for class as it was, 1, a distraction, and 2, just couldn't fit on a desk. But this wouldn't be the first time one of my ventures would fail. See, in 2013 and 2014, one of the craziest sensations swept through the entire classroom, and this was known as rainbow looms. See, this may just seem like a pile of rubber bands to a lot of people, but this actually turned into an extreme catalyst for creativity of so many other kids. As you see here, this right here is a pattern known as a hexfish design, and I didn't even know it was that serious. Now, obviously, this also could not be done during class, and the teacher explained how these rubber bands just got everywhere, and it was such a hassle to manage. So, another business operation failed. Now, in 2017, one of the craziest sensations emerged once again, and this was known as slime. What was a kid's dream was actually a parent's nightmare. Now, this slime specifically that I have here is called a cloud cream slime. And the only reason why it has such a unique name is because kids have been innovating for years in order to create so many different textures. Instead of a space race, it was actually a slime race, as kids kept trying to innovate further. There are now butter slime, thick and glossy slime, and of course, cloud cream slime right here. As I discovered all of these different ventures throughout my elementary school days, I started to think to myself if this was truly a universal experience. So I took it to online to find out if this was really true, and I actually came across someone named Naya. She's a girl who's 17 years old, and she is based in Maryland. She actually had a very similar experience to me, as in 4th to 5th grade, she also decided to start selling slime to her peers. And when she did, her peers also got even more inspired, and through this, they started their own. Now, completely unsanctioned by any kind of adult, they started a competition for customers and soon tried to start innovating more and more with their slime processes. Now, she is obviously not the only one, but I never really understood why these entrepreneurship ventures were always so quickly shunned down, as even for her, the teacher had to explain to her why slime was banned in school, and in general, all elementary schools, you cannot do any kind of purchases of any kind. Well, although I never really understood why these entrepreneur ventures were always shunned down, I began to notice how children don't really care what adults think is impossible. See, as we grow older, we actually begin to lose sight of our dreams, and while we wanted to become an astronaut or the President of the United States, we actually begin to anchor down to reality. But kids don't care about this. Business startups have actually become way more relevant than ever nowadays, as kids have become the catalyst of creativity once more. As kids have been gaining more insights into social media at a younger and younger age, it's actually been considered as extremely harmful for them. However, many kids are actually utilizing this in very beneficial ways. A really great example of this is actually Dilly Donut Designs. I met them, and they're actually based in Connecticut. They're run by two sisters whose names are Dilly and Little Dilly. Dilly told me that when she was just 9 years old, she actually began to start selling, and through the use of social media, she's gained over 3,000 followers. Through this, she's also done some partnerships with local businesses, like an arcade where she did a pop-up, and with the internet, it made it possible for her to actually sell to several different states across different countries. Also, Quentin Rawlings is a boy that I met who's based in Virginia. He told me that when he was in elementary school, he had a similar venture where he would sell chips to kids, and by middle school, he would actually sell answers to his homework for money. Now, as an 18-year-old, he has actually started his very own lawn and landscaping business. And through the use of TikTok, he's been able to create some process videos where he's been able to reach some audiences that he probably could not have achieved through in person alone. The way that these children have been able to utilize social media to create something that is really successful to them just demonstrates how they have the potential to grow something bigger. What if, instead of hindering these successes, we actually turned it into something bigger? What if we took them and we gave them some tools and opportunities to help them succeed and harness their energy? It's up to us to recognize all of their potential to succeed. Because who knows, maybe the next big entrepreneur is actually a kid who has a bag of slime or a pack of bracelets. Thank you.
Energy